The power of ignoring thoughts. Under the shade of a grand banyan tree, a group of seekers gathered around a serene Buddha. His eyes, calm like a still lake, reflected centuries of wisdom. As the gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming jasmine, the Buddha began speaking in a soft, melodic voice. Long ago, in a quiet village nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, there lived an old man named Arav. He was known as the wisest man in the village, but he had not always been so. In his younger days, Arav had been a man tormented by his thoughts. He would overthink every decision, worry about things beyond his control, and allow negative thoughts to consume his peace. Arav had spent years trying to fight his thoughts, battling them as if they were his greatest enemy. But the more he fought, the stronger they seemed to become. He would spend sleepless nights replaying past mistakes, dreading the future, and analyzing every conversation he had. This constant mental struggle left him exhausted and unhappy. One day, in his search for relief, he decided to seek the wisdom of an old hermit who lived deep within the mountains. This hermit, known as Guru Omkar, was said to possess knowledge that could bring peace to even the most troubled minds. After a long and arduous journey, Arav finally reached the hermit's humble dwelling. Guru Omkar welcomed him with a warm smile and asked what troubled him. "Master," Arav said, "I am trapped by my own mind. My thoughts never leave me alone. I fight them, I argue with them, but they always return stronger. Please teach me how to silence them." Guru Omkar chuckled and handed Arav a small clay pot. "Take this pot," he instructed, "and fill it with water from the river at sunrise. Then sit by the river and stare at the water, but no matter what, do not let a single drop spill. If you spill even a drop, return the next morning and try again. Do this until you succeed." Arav found the task odd, but he followed the hermit's instructions. The next morning, he went to the river, filled the pot with water, and began walking back carefully. However, his mind was restless. Thoughts of the past and future crept in, making his hands tremble. A few drops spilled. Disappointed, he returned the next morning to try again. For weeks, Arav repeated the task. Each day, he became more aware of how his thoughts distracted him. Slowly, he learned to focus not on his thoughts, but on his task. As he walked, he acknowledged his thoughts, but did not engage with them. He let them come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky. Eventually, he completed the task without spilling a single drop. When he returned to Guru Omkar, the wise man smiled. "Now tell me, how did you succeed?" "I learned to ignore my thoughts," Arav replied. "Instead of fighting them, I let them pass without reacting. I focused on what I was doing, not on what my mind was saying." Guru Omkar nodded. "That is the secret to peace, my child. Thoughts are like visitors, they come and go. If you fight them, they stay longer. If you ignore them, they lose their power. The mind is like the river. It flows endlessly. But you must be like the stone in the riverbed, calm, unmoved, and steady." Arav returned to his village, transformed. He no longer feared his thoughts. He understood that he did not have to engage with every thought that crossed his mind. Instead, he chose where to place his attention. Over time, his mind became quieter, and he lived with a newfound sense of peace and clarity. Villagers sought his advice, and he shared his wisdom with them. The power of ignoring thoughts is the power of mastering oneself. Do not let your mind control you. Observe it, but do not obey its every command. Peace comes when you stop fighting and simply let go. And so Arav became the wisest man in the village, not because he knew all the answers, but because he had learned to ignore the noise within and listen to the silence of true wisdom.